Kittley, what are you excited to see in tomorrow's scrimmage?
Yeah, I'm just excited to see us get out there, after 14 days under our belt, kind of simplify the playbook a little bit, really just hoping we play fast, play physical, no MAs, some of those things, just looking for us to execute at a high level.
Coach, not your first spring game out here at Jones AT&T Stadium. How's this one going to be different from years past?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm the offensive coordinator now, and I wasn't before, so. But they're all fun, just coming back to Lubbock and being in this environment and knowing, we're going to have a lot of people here on Saturday. I know that. Just Red Raider Nation's unbelievable. So the biggest difference is I'm calling the plays and a little bit bigger deal for me now, but looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And obviously you're going to be calling the plays for the Tech quarterbacks right now. Seems to be a little bit open at the starting position so far. What individually about those guys has impressed you between Donovan, Shuck, and Barry?
Yeah, I think they all bring a little bit of a different skill set. I think I said this last time I talked to you guys, but with Tyler, Tyler's just kind of more of a veteran, kind of a seasoned guy, seen a lot more football. Is a little bit able to dissect defenses probably a little bit more than the other two. When you talk about Donovan, man, he's really kind of got that gamer to him a little bit. Still growing as far as football IQ and studying defenses and some of those things, but really impressed with him. And then Barron, man, he's a stud, just a young guy too, still just going to have 4 years left to play. Really trying to learn defenses as well. And, he's green, but man, he's got a lot of talent. And just once again, just looking forward to all those guys continuing to grow.
What scares you about your own defense?
Oh man, Coach DeRuyter, he's over there. They do a great job, man. Very multiple, give a lot of different looks. Really keeps us on our toes. I'm a guy that likes to scheme and teach the quarterback based off of pre-snap looks and certain indicators and some of those things. And man, they do a really good job over there of playing fast, playing physical, trying to disguise coverages, mixing the fronts in and out, different blitzes from kind of every day, giving us something new. So we're facing probably one of the tougher schemes right now in camp that I've personally seen over the last 4 or 5 years, and so that's really, really good for us. They've got after us a lot, but we're only going to get better from that. So really excited about our defense and what Coach DeRuyter and those guys are doing.
How big has this team grown from practice 1 to practice 14, and what do they still need to improve on as they return to camp?
Yeah, I think we've grown a lot. You talk about a lot of install on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, but also on special teams. And so, just a lot of guys trying to learn new stuff and retain all that. I can't necessarily speak for defense and special teams, but, I'm sure we'd all want to see a little bit more of just cleaner football at times. We're still having a few MAs here and there, once again, continuing with new installs. So that's where you kind of want to see moving towards the summer when we're getting to do a little bit of football with them, completely clearing up those MAs and feeling 100% confident in the playbook. But as far from day one to now, across the board, everything's really improved.
So who's the camp MVP from the offense? Other than the quarterbacks, because I won't let you.
Camp MVP for the offense would probably be Taj Brooks, doing really well, running really well.
Who among the outside receivers has asserted themselves and kind of made themselves said, I want to start, I'm going to be a part of the solution here?
Yeah, this spring, Jiren Bradley really come along. Young guy, hasn't played a lot of football. I want to say he's played 69 snaps in college. So another young guy, very raw, big body, physical, but hungry to learn. Very smart guy. Really has come along this spring, and really looking forward to see his growth because once again, he's just a young guy continuing to learn.
You think he's more of a X or Z? Or is he? He's doing both.
He's playing both right now. You'll see him at X this Saturday. But in our offense, these guys are kind of interchangeable. When we really get to September, you're going to see him line up in all different spots. Sometimes maybe even in the backfield as a tight end. Sometimes in the slot outside. Big body guy that's physical that can do a lot. So you're going to see a lot of different places out of him.
What is JJ showing Spartan?
Yeah, so JJ's kind of been battling just like a tight hamstring here and there. So JJ's only got to do a few practices with us. I'd say probably about half. But once he's gotten back the second half, he's really improved. He had a couple of big-time catches in the scrimmage on last Saturday. And same thing with him. JJ's been around for a few years, but really when you look at his snap count, he hasn't played a whole lot of football. And so I think the more we're seeing, once again, the defense doing a great job of giving us multiple looks, giving us a lot of press man, a lot of press bail, just a bunch of different things. For those young receivers, they're just learning. So JJ's coming along well, but still a lot of room to improve.
Coach, as far as the 2 deep with the offensive line, what's the progress been like that this spring with that position group?
Yeah, kind of shuffling some guys here and there. We got a lot of new faces, and then same thing, just not a whole lot of experience, there. So we're kind of shuffling some guys around. You're going to see Caleb Rogers over at the left tackle on Saturday. You're going to see Dennis Wilborn at center for us. And same thing, just really kind of moving those guys and then kind of shuffling them back and forth from first to second team based on how practice is going each week.
How would you grade Mason Tharp's spring?
He's doing really well. Same thing, man. I think he's grown 2 or 3 inches since he's gotten here. And so he's still got such a big frame. He's 6'9". I'm 6'7". I got to look up at him. So, he's really grown into his body. But he's learning how to play physical and really trying to become that dual threat tight end that we're looking for. I'm really happy where Mason's at.
Speaking of big tight end additions, obviously they haven't come joining the roster now. What's it mean to have a guy like that on your offense?
Fired up. Those guys are invaluable. Once again, I think you could ask Coach DeRuyter, when you have a true hybrid tight end, man, it can really cause stress on the defense just because in the run game it creates an extra gap. A lot of times, especially when you do get to 12 personnel, I find that it simplifies the defense to usually 1 or 2 calls. And so, you're looking right now, you have Mason Tharp out there with Baylor Cup and a dose of Henry Teeter too. You may even see a little bit of 13 personnel come September. So.
How does it feel to have the ability to have that 13 personnel and to have that ability to, okay, 6'9", 6'4", 6'6",
Oh, yeah.
good luck.
It's great, kind of in my past growing into my coaching career, I was kind of never really had a true tight end really. And then I took over at Western Kentucky last year and I had 3 really good ones. But unfortunately game 1, torn ACL by one, broke shin by the other. So the 12 personnel stuff we were going to disappeared quickly. And so last year, if you look at us, we were still about 50% of our snaps were in 11 personnel, but was with a guy that we, weren't planning on using as much at the beginning of the season. So being able to have those guys, like I said, it creates a whole different element of the offense. Because for me, how I formulate the play calls and the formations and all that, nothing ever changes for the quarterback, and really that's the beauty of it. So I can be in 12, 13, and run the same plays I run when I'm in 10.
Got time for about 2 more.
Zach, what's the competition like at center, and how do you picture it developing over the course of the summer and August? You mentioned Wilburn and Franks has been in there, and still Briggs, you haven't really got to see him, I guess, live yet.
Yeah, so it's going to be those 2, and then we're looking forward to see what Cade Briggs can do. He played tackle at New Mexico, but we really think he's going to transition into an inside piece here, whether that's guard or center. And Cole Spencer as well, the Western Kentucky transfer that came with us. He's kind of your Swiss Army knife. He can play all 5. So he's a guy that he's coming back from the knee, and he's already snapping for us as well, just trying to get some snaps in, because at the end of the day, there's 2 people that touch the ball every single play, and that's the center and that's the quarterback. So you got to get the centerpiece right, and so we're still kind of working through that to see how it's really going to play out, as, kind of when we get to September.
Coach, as far as the spring game goes in the quarterback competition, is there any one specific thing you're looking for a guy kind of to stand out a little bit as you head into the summer and fall?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a spring game. We're going against our defense. I just want to see us play clean football, protect the football, no turnovers. Just try to get first downs and put points on the board at the end of the day. If we're not punting, we're in a good situation. If we're not turning the football over, we're in a good situation. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. You're going to see all 3 get reps with the 1s and the 2s, just kind of rotating through it. At the end of the day, just once again, just trying to find, leadership qualities are big, especially in a game like this, because the nerves are going to be high, excitement's there. So we got to see who's kind of ready for that game day environment as well in a new system, and kind of in front of, not a massive crowd like we'll see in September, but a nice crowd here on Saturday.
I asked him about how is it to face the defense. How is it to face the offense with those 3 quarterbacks?
It's a pain. We got 3 really talented guys that we got to face. When I got hired and I heard, an air raid guy was coming here, that coach was hired, he's someone from the air raid tree and was putting all the points on the board. I thought it was going to be all 4 wide and 5 wide. And it's not. We're having to see multiple tight ends, multiple backs and tight ends, no backs. And so we've got to get ready for the entire season, really, by going against our offense. All 3 quarterbacks are talented. I don't know how he's going to pick because, depending on the day, you think one guy's, got a little lead, and then all of a sudden, man, this guy really created some issues for us. So it's a good problem to have. You know, wish we had enough balls to go around for all of them. I hope we do.
Coach, you're finally going to get your first taste out there at the Jones. I guess what's that moment going to mean to you to finally see Red Raider Nation out there in front of you?
Well, I'm fired up. You know, I went to basketball games and I was amazed by the energy that the fans brought and how it elevated our basketball team. I thought that was a huge, huge factor in our success. I can't wait till we get the Jones like that. I'm sure it's not going to be filled on Saturday, but you know, just to show them what this year's Red Raiders is going to look like. Hopefully, we're playing with that Red Raiders speed and violence that Coach McGuire wants us to play with. That's going to be key for us. You know, to play clean, play fast, and play violently.
Between when you started and now, is there anything about the defense that you thought has kind of progressed faster than you thought it would? Maybe not ready by spring, or at least.
I don't know. I think we were pretty much on schedule. I've been really impressed with our secondary. I think we've got some decent depth there and some guys with experience that communicate, play really well. It allows you to play some man coverage and play tight coverage to take away some things. They understand disguise pretty well. You know, we got to clean some things up, but they understand the advantage of being multiple and playing different leverages and showing certain things pre-snap and making a quarterback figure it out afterwards. So we've really been impressed there. Krishan's been a heck of a leader for us. We expect him to, and you want him to step up even more. But I wish Tyree would have got some more time. He got dinged up and missed the majority of it. But when it was early, he was really impressive.
You've had a lot.
You have quite a few practices under your belt now. What are you looking forward most out of your guys this Saturday?
I think it's just like what I was saying. I want them to play fast on Saturday. I want them to play with a lot of confidence. Contest every throw. Get after the run to the football. Play good on third down and third in the red zone. Coach McGuire does a great job of segmenting our practice so that we have different periods of time where it's not just running plays. It's focused practice on situations, and it's competitive. And it's gone back and forth with the offense wins sometimes, the defense wins sometimes, and tomorrow we get a chance to kind of put it all together.
Marquis Waters played a ton of football at Duke and missed nearly all of last season. How's he looked this spring?
He's probably been our most productive player on defense as far as a guy making explosive plays, intercepting footballs, getting sacks, forcing fumbles. He's a dynamic football player. I didn't realize he came here from Duke. Sometimes you meet him, you don't think he's a Duke guy. But he's a heck of a football player and really excited about his potential in our defense. I've told him I think he's got the ability, if our coaches and I can get it out of him, he's got the ability to be an all-conference type of player.
You had so much experience in the defensive side. Who are some of the young players that have stood out to you so far?
Unfortunately, Mutt's not young, I don't think, but some of the younger guys that have been sticking out. LB Moore at times has, Bryce, Jacob Rodriguez, for a guy that hadn't played a lot of football, particularly on defense, has been really impressive. How old's Philip Bleedy? Is he young or old? To me, they're all just young guys.
Bleedy's kind of in the middle.
He's had an impressive camp. The older guys, Tony and Jay Book, those guys have been good, steady, productive guys. But I think Philip, didn't have a lot of tape before, and he's had a good camp.
So who's your defensive MVP for camp?
For camp, probably Krishan, just by how he plays. Setting the standard on how hard to run the ball, how consistent he is in working at it, never assuming he's going to start and just working it at every day and setting the stand for everybody else. And so I'd say probably him.
You mentioned Rodriguez right there too. I think, if I'm not mistaken, back at Virginia, he was literally listed as just football player. It's his position at one point. How have you been able to kind of have him hone in on just the linebacker position in general and make him focus on one role as opposed to being that versatile guy that can go everywhere?
Well, I think Coach Bookbider's done a really nice job of getting a raw piece of material and molding him into a future really good player. He flashes all the time. I think being in the room with Krishan and seeing how Krishan plays has translated to him. he plays really, really hard. I think he's got some natural football instinct to him. He takes really good angles. But the biggest thing is he just plays really hard, understands the game. He's still learning our defensive package, and so he'll have some mental busts every now and then, but he's got a really big upside.
Coach, what's been the most competitive, I guess, position battle on the defensive side?
I don't know that we have a most. I mean, we've got competition everywhere. I think every day guys show up and they know that if they don't have a day, someone's getting more reps, and that's a great position to be in. We've got the corner position. Malik's had a heck of a camp. You got Adrian who's been a starter, and I think Rashad started as well. I mean, that's three really good corners that can start in a lot of different places. And so the competition every single day there. Our safety position, depending on how we're configuring things, we'll have two or three. And, I really like what Reggie and Rabbit have done. Behind them, you got T.O., who's got a really big upside. I mean, he's a long guy that can run. So, we've got competition everywhere, so it's hard to say this position or this position. It's just, I like where we're at. I'd love to have more depth, particularly up front. We got some good young guys up front, but, we got to speed up their progress to get them ready.
Talk about
Those inside linebacker spots, it's pretty clear from y'all's comments that Rashawn is kind of the main guy, but the others at the other spot, the battle to start is Jacob versus who?
Mimi's done a really good job. Coming in, he hadn't played a ton of football. He's transferring here, but he's a guy that's got some natural ability, can run, understands the defense pretty well. If we were to start today, to play somebody, he'd probably be our guy. Like I mentioned, Jacob, and then I think Tyreek's had a nice camp. He's a little bit limited measurable-wise, but he plays very, very hard, and he's a physical player. He's going to put himself in a good position.
How does this defense handle up versus the tight ends? We talked to Coach Scott.
It's a tough matchup. I mean, we got some dudes. What you got to try to do is, switch it. I think be multiple, make it where they're not comfortable, where they're, someone's getting help. At times we're going to have to play, man to man. But we might be outside leverage, playing, aggressive, and make them throw it over the top, and then you got to play jump ball, which is tough with a 6'9" guy. But I mean, it's fun. It's really fun to, from a coaching standpoint, to strategize. Last few years, having to play against Stanford, and they had those big trees that they get down the red zone and post you up, and so we had to change techniques, just to basically go to a basketball techniques and have guys box people out. And, it was fairly effective against them, but with our tight ends, we'll probably have to do the same thing. I'm glad we don't have to play them for real other than tomorrow or Saturday.
You mentioned Bryce a moment ago, and Joey mentioned him the other day. What's your kind of analysis of him?
He's a guy that, you noticed him in the weight room when I first got here, just how hard he worked and the kind of weight he threw around, but, doesn't have classic measurables for an edge guy. And so I thought maybe he's an inside linebacker, but we had him an outside because we liked our depth where we started with. But the guy's an edge player. I mean, he's really, really physical at the edge, setting an edge. He can turn. He's got really good pass rush value because he can flip his hips, and is really explosive out of his stance. So I think, whether it's, a roll guy as a third down or, playing some, on first and second down, he's earning a role on this